fam, it's Grace. This is Music is Medicine, but today we're not talking about a specific song. We're just going to talk about Oliver Tree. He was such an amazing artist, an eccentric king. The art that he creates is one of the most unique on the market right now, in my opinion. So I want to pay tribute to his energy, to his authenticity, and to his artistry in this video. First of all, let's think about the way that he presents himself. Now this sparks my brain into a million different directions. First of all, his hair. He has different hair in a ton of different music videos. He had a bunch of different haircuts. He had the blonde, he had the dark brown, I think he had dreadlocks in one of his music videos or something along those lines, or braids or twists or something. He had some sort of hairstyle. The way that he wears his teeny little sunglasses, even his facial expressions in his music videos, it looks like he's constipated, like he's pooping himself. His extremely colorful outfits, his humongous baggy bootleg pants, his nose, just so much about him is so unique. And to the normal human eye, right? We have the beauty standard of society. He is on the opposite side of the spectrum of that. His first album was called Ugly is Beautiful. So yes, he presents this way, but it's almost as if he does it on purpose. Like in my head, I wonder if he presented himself the way that he did to kind of trigger society or trigger people. I mean, I'm sure a lot of this was his own way of expressing himself, him being himself, but I do wonder if he pushed the envelope to trigger people, to make people realize that it doesn't matter what you look like, but it matters what you do with your energy, with your time on earth. That dictates your success, not how you look, you know? But beyond his appearance, the way that he presents himself artistically in his music videos is also extremely eccentric. In the music video Superhero, he literally puts his feet in a tub of baked beans. He eats dog food. You should watch the video Let Me Down. The whole entire time, he's just in a little pink recording studio room, in a pink room, and he's just chasing the mic. The mic is just like going away, whatever. Every single one of his music videos has something so quirky and you're like, what the fuck? Like, it's actually kind of off-putting and like weird. And he fully, vulnerably opens himself up to judgment from society, which I'm sure he got a heck of a lot of. But the whole time, he is just the king of not giving a shit about what people think. And I think that that is one major thing that I want to learn for myself and embody myself, because he embodied the out of that. So besides how he presents himself, another beautiful part of his mind is what he focuses on in his actual songs, the songs he sings and writes about, right? Songs he writes and sings. The songs he writes and sings. In a lot of it, what I found, disclaimer, all of these interpretations are my own interpretations. I have not studied this guy for years. I've been a fan of him for a while, but, you know, I don't know every single song. That being said, from what I've gathered, he sings a lot about loss, destruction, being pissed at people, being pissed at how people treat him, but also loving people, certain people, right? Like, he has a song about, like, oh, I have all types of friends, the real ones, the fake ones, the whatever, right? He talks a lot about just real life topics, and even in interviews, he's so real. You should watch his video with Jake Weber that he did when they went shopping. I feel like you'll just get a little insight into his energy, which when I watched that video, that was my first time really seeing him interact in a not musical space. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Literally, who is this guy? It's really hard to tell where the line is between performance and his true self, but I mean, that's not the topic of this. You know, I'm sure artists, you know, they have to push the envelope a little bit for the views or whatever, but you could just really tell he doesn't care what people think about what he says. He will say anything. That's what I see. He obviously wasn't on top of the world his whole life, I saw one interview where he was talking about some drug addiction that he had going on, and I think that the music video All That turns into Alien Boy, I believe that music video depicts this journey that he had, where he thought he was on top of the world, all that, whatever. I don't know that song as well, but then it turns into Alien Boy, where he's like, I fell down to earth. My interpretation is that that's him coming off of the drugs and finding music as his saving grace, as his purpose, as his reason to live on, and not just do drugs all the time, or whatever, however he lived before. But that journey is so beautiful, and I'm sure through that journey he morphed into someone who wasn't afraid to speak their mind. Maybe he's been speaking his mind forever, but now he's doing it on a madly public scale, and that is just so freaking admirable. Like, I want to literally pray to whatever is out there right now to ask that I can also embody my truth instead of just knowing my truth. I want to embody it in my actions and in what I choose to do and what I choose to say. So like, let's all do that. If you're into praying or manifesting, like, take a minute to do that. Seriously. There's also a ton of destruction, fire, explosions, falling, stumbling, clumsiness in his videos, which is really interesting because these are just normal parts of life that a lot of us don't want to face. Let's go through some examples of this. Miss you, trying to get over somebody, also kind of hating somebody. Life goes on. You better move on with your life because life keeps moving. Worth nothing, an Alien Boy, all about being an outsider. Hurt is all about pain. Using pain as fuel. It's as if... It's almost as if in his writing and directing of his music videos, there is all this clumsiness and awkwardness and pain and destruction and explosions in life. But at the end, and it can feel tiring, it can feel like life is going in a circle, it can feel like, what's the freaking point? It's played on, I think that was one of his lyrics. It's played out. But it's like, and what? Like, yeah, that's how I feel, but we're still here, we're still dreaming big and following our dreams. So it's okay to acknowledge the other side of the glory life, the golden life. In a world where there are so many creators and artists who fit a mold, and there's a lot of artists who don't fit a mold, like Yungblud, for example. He doesn't fit a mold, but he's still a cool guy. Oliver Tree is like, he's a weirdo. He's off-putting, he's awkward, he's quirky, he's eccentric. He's literally an alien in the world of artists. And I think that doing that, it's like he hung himself, not me comparing him to Jesus, but like he literally, and I'm not, but it's almost like he literally, him being in the public eye in this way was him just being like, hit me, say what you want, I am unshakable, it doesn't matter. That, I pray and manifest over all of us that we get to channel that energy a little bit and be more and more of ourselves in every moment of our life. That's what you get on this channel. You get manifestation sent straight to you. This man is just raw and vulnerable with his appearance, with the words that come out of his mouth, with the words that come out of his mouth in his writing, in his art, in his interviews, in everything that this does. This man just embodied authenticity, which to me is the highest vibration on this planet, higher than love. I'm not going to get down the rabbit hole of what's the word? Conspiracy. I'm not going to get down the rabbit hole. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories, but I do think it's really interesting to think about all of the coincidences that occurred with his death. I mean, I've only seen a few, but Of course, there was that one music video, where he's falling on a plane. There's the number 6 on the plane, which is like, it's the 6th month of the year, right? That's whatever. And then someone else who died on the plane, they apparently had a music video where they were exhausted, potentially also on a plane that had 6-14 in it, which is the day that they died, which is very interesting. Not to say that this was an operation, or, you know, his record label, which he had recently spoken out about, being pissed off at. They separated, I believe. Not to say that this was a whole setup or anything, but I just think that when you're someone who's vibrating on that wavelength of authenticity and being so in tune with yourself and the universe around you, it makes sense that these synchronicities and coincidences present themselves in major ways. And so it's neither here nor there, but I do think that that's interesting. So I just want you guys to remember that you are the only person who has your specific quirks, your specific energy, your specific slays, and you're the only person who can express yourself fully as yourself. You're the only one who can do you, and no one can do you like you can do you. So why don't you just do you? Just remember, like, no one's gonna love a cold robot. So be yourself. Ugly is beautiful.